On this edition of No DQ&A video, I'll be talking about Brock Lesnar, what's going to happen next with him, who's he going to fight at SummerSlam, what's going to happen at WrestleMania. I'll be talking about all that. Also, what were my thoughts on the TNA Open Fight Night, the very first edition. I'll be talking about all this and more, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to No DQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQCW and of course NoDQ.com. Don't forget this Sunday is WWE Extreme Rules, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Big matchup live from Chicago. You can check out all the coverage at NoDQ.com. But for now, let's get to your questions. Hey Aaron, what did you think about the Laurinaitis Lesnar segment on Raw this past week about the Lesnar demands? People are saying Lesnar was diabolical in it. Please answer in video. Yeah, he was diabolical, and that's the way it's supposed to be. The thing about Brock Lesnar is when I was reading the results of Raw, because I'm on the West Coast and I just wanted to know what was happening before I actually watched it, I saw a lot of people complaining about the Brock Lesnar segment and saying that he was really bad and his mic work wasn't good. I actually thought he was fairly good. I think Brock Lesnar does a very good job of just being a naturally cocky heel. He just comes out there and makes all these demands, and he knows he can get away with it. And I think Lesnar does that role very well, and perhaps it's playing off real life, and he's just an extension of who he really is. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and we'll see where things continue to progress in the coming weeks. But, you know, it would be better if Lesnar had Paul Heyman as a mic piece. Obviously, I think that would be the ideal situation, but just him by himself, I think he's okay as long as he doesn't do too much talking, because it isn't his strongest point, but I still think he's fairly good at it and not as bad as some people make him out to be. What do you think of the rumored Lesnar versus Orton match at SummerSlam? And do you think we'll see Lesnar in the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? As I mentioned in a previous video, I think Lesnar versus Orton is inevitable, and I think it'll be a really good match. Very intense match. Lesnar needs to be in there with somebody who's just as intense as he is, and Randy Orton definitely fits that bill. I think that would be a really good match. And as far as being in Hell in the Cell, I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, Lesnar is going to be doing at least 4 to 5 pay-per-views, so you might want to throw him in there in the Hell in a Cell, or maybe No Way Out with the cage matches, something like that. But I think there's a decent chance of that. In the Brock Lesnar angle, is it being better than any other current WWE superstar really that good of an idea? What they are doing is degrading the entire roster below a retired UFC fighter. Why not give this angle push to a new guy with a long future like Ryback? Because Ryback doesn't have the name value that Brock Lesnar has. Bottom line. Brock Lesnar went to the UFC, became the UFC champion. He is a legitimate sports icon. And he's coming back to WWE a bigger name than he was before he left. No doubt about it. And the amount of money WWE's paying him, they need to get their money's worth. They need to push him as the monster that he can be and should be. So, to me, at least for the time being, they should push him as the #1 guy. I mean, he's being paid that much money. Why waste it? And you can always build him up and then have him lose a big match at WrestleMania, whether it's against Undertaker or against The Rock. And somebody suggested, well, why have him lose to Undertaker or Rock? Why not have him lose to an up-and-coming star? Because at WrestleMania, I don't think there's going to be, by the time of WrestleMania, I don't think there's going to be anybody that's at the level of Undertaker or The Rock, let's face it. So you might as well put him in there with somebody like The Rock and have The Rock beat him. That's just what I would do, and that's I expect something like that to happen. Who is your pick for Undertaker to face at WrestleMania 29? Cena, Rock, Y2J, or Lesnar? If it was my choice, I would go with Undertaker, because people have been wanting to see Undertaker and Lesnar for years. I mean, there was that big tease after the UFC pay-per-view a year or two ago, and everyone was talking about Undertaker and Lesnar. And if you're going to do Undertaker versus Lesnar, WrestleMania is really the only place that makes sense to me, because you have the streak on the line. You could build up Lesnar beating one guy after another, and then finally he goes in there with Undertaker. Perhaps, I talked about Lesnar and Triple H. Lesnar could beat Triple H at some point, and then as revenge, Triple H can book him in a match at WrestleMania against The Undertaker. I mean, it's actually something that makes a lot of sense, and that's what I would do. I think we could also see, like I mentioned a minute ago, we could see Lesnar versus The Rock. Unlikely we'll see Lesnar versus Cena, and definitely not Jericho. So there you have it. What are the chances of WWE releasing Rey Mysterio after his recent suspension? He got suspended in 2009, so if he is suspended one more time, will WWE release him or not? Because he is a big draw for them. That's an interesting question. I think on one hand, one argument you can make is that Rey Mysterio has done everything there is to do in WWE, and you're trying to build new talent, so why bring back another old guy? And Rey Mysterio is actually not that old, but I mean, in terms of television years, he's very old. I mean, he's been part of WWE for 10 years now, and then before that, he was in WCW for all those years. So he's a very old character in terms of TV years. On the other hand, you could still bring him in there, and there's still matches you can do. You can still do Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara, hopefully with both guys in there at the same time and not one of them being suspended or one of them being injured. But you could still do Mysterio versus Sin Cara at SummerSlam, mask versus mask or whatever, or try to break the indoor arena record, or I don't know if they can do that for Staples Center, but still have a match built around the masks. And you could use him to put over some of the younger talent. So, I mean, you can make an argument either way. Anything can happen. I mean, perhaps Rey might just be fed up and ask for his release. You never know. But my gut is that we'll see him back at least for one more run, maybe another year or so. I'm suspecting we'll see the Mysterio versus Sin Cara match at some point. But, like I said, you never know. I remember an answer of yours that says when Undertaker retires, WrestleMania buy rates will go down a little bit. Well, I think it will still affect WrestleMania in a hard way. Remember, The Undertaker's been stealing the show in the several past years. He is the glory of WrestleMania. But you have to keep in mind that WrestleMania is the one show of the year that draws to the outside audience. If anything, it's WrestleMania that's the drawing point. People that gave up watching wrestling, they'll tune in one time a year for WrestleMania because they know it's like the WWE Super Bowl. So I think that's what it's come down to at this point. Yes, the streak is a selling point, and people buy WrestleMania to see the streak on the line, no doubt about it. But I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. I think if Undertaker retires, it'll have a minimum effect on WrestleMania. I mean, WWE will go on just fine. And, I mean, yeah, Undertaker's done a lot of great things over the years, and he's definitely been a show stealer. But the show goes on, as they say. What were your thoughts on the open fight night from TNA? Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's gonna turn business around for TNA. But I will say this: I give TNA credit for doing something different. They really need to experiment and try new things. So I give it a thumbs up so far. I thought it was fairly entertaining. Although I'm still wondering who Samoan Joe is. Somebody fill me in on that one. But yeah, I mean, good stuff. I liked Devon calling out Bully Ray, and I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's something different, so yeah, I'm okay with it. All right, that'll wrap things up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you spread the word about this video. Post a video link on Facebook or Twitter, whatever, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for Extreme Rules coverage. Talk to you again after a while.